Diplomacy with other empires. I like interacting with other empires, so that's one of my favorite features of the game.
Technology. That's just it. I love my tech. I love min-max in the tech.
The emergent storyline. So I play Stellaris rather than some other combat game because the stories that come out, the stories are different every time.
Fleet combat systems, they're pretty fun. Just like planning out attacks and ambushes and building your fleets yourself, choosing what components make them up, trying to get intel on the other fleets so you can directly counter them. It really makes it a strategy game, and like actually being able to plan that out, looking at the systems that you're fighting in, or if there's storms going on, or just being able to plan all those things in. So you might have like half the strength of your foe, but you can defeat them if you take into account all these other things and you use them for your own benefit. So I love that system. Being able to use all that for combat is really fun.
I think probably the precursors are sacred to me, particularly the fact that they're randomized. I think that's one of my favorite things, that you cannot pick a precursor.
Stellaris to me is all about the exploration side of things and discovering the galaxy at large. And the game has expanded quite a lot in that direction over the last years, where the mid-game didn't have a lot of it once you started going out there, but has been filling out more and more ever since launch. And if that would go away, it wouldn't be the same game anymore.
The tech system, the research system, it wouldn't be Stellaris, it would be, the Stellaris we've got at home.
I remember that it was pretty overwhelming but cool. My first game in Stellaris was directly after the release of the game. Yeah, I know I played some mushrooms that, and I called it something like pizza.
I got into Stellaris because my community kept on nagging me to get into it and told me that I would love it, that it was exactly my kind of game. And eventually I bowed to peer pressure and got a copy and loved it.
So when I bought the game, it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought it was just like a fast-paced action space game, but it had much more depth than I thought from the surface. And then my first playthrough, it took me through like a rabbit hole, and I've been playing it ever since.
I actually remember this because I was streaming, and when I watched back, I realized that you could build things on planets or like districts. So I just had only built buildings and no districts, so my planets were just awful.
It's funny, I was talking about this earlier to one of the devs, Alfred, I think. One of my core first memories of Stellaris is getting absolutely bodied by the contingency and then going and telling my dad about it, who loves these kind of games as well, like Age of Empires and stuff. I vividly remember having my bastion built up. I've got fleets and the contingency coming down towards me. It was north to south. My fleet's getting absolutely ruined, the contingency destroying me. Fantastic memory.
So my first game was on console, on the Xbox One, and I had no clue what was going on, and I was slowly just expanding, and I remember when I finally was taking over the galaxy, the Prethoran Scourge invaded, and I had no idea what was going on. As they slowly were steamrolling the galaxy, and I tried to stop them, and I could not. And I was like upset at first, and then I was like, oh, I gotta play this again and destroy them next time.
The very first time I saw Stellaris was when it was in its 0.0 state. It had just been cooked up in the developer department, and it was just an empty star system with a cube with 3 other cubes attached to it, and it was under development.
The old starbase system, you would only build one starbase, and then it would like create a sphere of influence around it, depending on your influence. And what would happen then is, depending on the amount of influence you had, you could either seize planets or systems that were outside of it, or you would lose them. And so I remember like trying to fight for these systems, but I didn't have enough influence, so then I would just lose them as another empire's sphere of influence spread beyond it. Really annoying. So once they added in the starbase function where every system had it, it was really nice being able to know something was mine and I wasn't gonna lose it.
This is the different types of travel through this space. So it was so confusing to me because there was this wormhole travel part and this system we have now, and the warp system. And I'm glad that this is not anymore in the game because it made it so difficult to fight wars or even explore the universe. It was the best decision for me that this was cut out of the game.
I think the Empire Sprawl, was it called? I can't even remember what it was called. But when I first started playing, that was a big thing. You'd have to make massive admin worlds just to have this number not go over another number. At the minute, it's rewards playing tall. So you can actually play tall now, which is great.
The system that got reworked in the best way is situations. That was originally not in the game. It was originally handled by scripts and on-action events, basically. So what would happen is an event would trigger, and you would do something to get an outcome from that. And that changed over the years into the situation system that we have now, where an action doesn't immediately have a result, but slowly builds up to a result, making sure that it's more of a the game's events are spread out over a longer period of time, and you have more input on the outcome rather than it's done.
Your leaders costing influence? It used to be, well, now it's unity, but I like the idea of them kind of, I don't know if they're cycling out influence, but that would be nice, yeah.
I'm still sad that we don't have the tile system anymore. But then again, when I look back on it, we've only had the planet tile system for like a year and a half, which in total, we're coming up to, 9 years now. So that, it's nothing. There's been so many different versions of Stellaris. I wouldn't want to single out that many in terms of individual features and say that one was the bad one, because they were reasons they were in there at the time, and then there were reasons that they got changed. So
I think war would be the best thing to change currently, because it's so binary. Like, you either win or you don't. There's no like stakes or ambiguity with the war, and that could be a really interesting focal point of to change into the game.
Colonizing planets. I don't think there's enough made of that. I'd like to see more about colonizing planets.
There's an origin with the habitats, and I love doing that with megacorps and just spreading throughout the entire galaxy, setting up branch offices everywhere, and you get that income of like 1,000 energy credits per month. You can buy everything. You can buy the loyalty of all of your subjects, or you can get every empire to love you. So yeah, if you could expand those systems of mega corporations and business and franchising in the game, so fun. Would love to see more of that.
The subterfuge tradition tree. I feel like there are so many more possibilities of that tree. So many things you could do to other empires, and what we have right now, it's usable. It's just, I feel like there's more we could do with that.
The Great Wound system with all the black holes, I think it's something to do with the previous Unbidden Invasion, but I'd love to know if there is a reason. Why is there so many black holes in that system? What's going on there? There's void clouds in there as well, I think. I want to know more.
I'm not going to say ground combat, because I don't want anyone to shoot at me. Realistically, I'd like diplomacy and warfare to kind of get a rework the warfare system and the diplomacy system. Something that expands on it, makes it more interactive, less static.
The origin that I would take with me to an island would be prosperous unification, because it is the most vanilla version of the game and is the most purest experience that you can have with it.
Doomsday, because it just matches where I am at that situation.
Personally, I'm probably going to say Mechanist. Even better is take Mechanist and then become Psionic. Psychic, robot-loving people is, I just think, ridiculously funny.
I would play the normal standard.
Oh, I'm really torn between Shoulders of Giants and Remnants. I think both are really good narrative stories. Remnants is far more open. You can play however you want to play. There's no predetermined history. One of those two, they're both fantastic narrative options, especially if you're new to the game.
It's like, I think it's the void dwelling origin. It's really awesome. You start out with 3, or with 1 habitat. It used to be 3, 1 habitat in a system, and you start building star bases around it. I could play that every day. I just love being able to create a habitat in every single system and slowly spread throughout the galaxy, making every system colonizable and trying to min-max everything. Have systems for every specific job, and it's awesome. Could do that over and over and over again.
Scion, because it's first my favorite origin, and I would have a stronger empire giving me more resources to keep playing Stellaris.